Greg Burke, the director of the Holy See Press Office, joins us from Rome. Greg, great to see you. Boy, it's been a pontificate of firsts since the moment Francis came out on the balcony. 4 years. How would you describe his impact on the church and on the world, for that matter?
Well, the impact on the church has been huge. The Pope has helped people rediscover the joy of what it means to believe. I think despite anyone's limitations, despite their sins, despite the crosses one might have to carry, there is an inherent joy in the Christian life. Now, in terms of the impact on the world, you know, much of what makes a Christian a better Christian also makes a human being a better human being in terms of taking care of the poor, visiting the lonely or the sick. And I think the Pope has been a huge wake-up call for people in that sense, of all faiths, of taking better care of their neighbors.
What are the most significant moments of this pontificate, in your view?
There have been a lot of significant moments. I think that'd be a really long list, but briefly I would say the year of mercy, because it wasn't just that year, it was the whole spirit of mercy, which I think the Pope has helped remind everyone of, that God is waiting there to forgive us, something he said from the first week of his pontificate, and people knew perhaps, but it's been a great reminder. And then a couple of the trips the Pope took where he really wasn't supposed to go. When the typhoon hit that part of the Philippines, he insisted on going. He said, I'm not going to let those people alone, Tacloban. That was impressive. And also the Central African Republic, a war-torn place. Pope says, no, it's important that I go there despite the risks, and he did. And then I remember one small moment, but I think it was huge. The impact was huge when the Pope got down on his knees to go to confession himself in front of the cameras. And I think, you know, leading by example, the Pope has done a great service to all of us by doing that.
The Pope's unscripted moments, like his press conferences during his flight, often make headlines. As his spokesman, how do you stay on message?
Well, I think the key thing here is that the Pope's main message is simple, and that remains. It's God loves you, God forgives you, you just have to be willing to ask for that forgiveness, and share God's love with the others. You know, learn how to share God's love with the others. So from time to time there will be other headlines, but the main message is that he stays on message for the most part, and every once in a while there are, you know, on the plane trips, other headlines, but the main message is that, and that's what people are getting.
What has been his biggest regret or challenge so far?
Well, I don't think the Pope has been one to say he has a lot of regrets. The Pope says something which is very impressive, which is, I am a sinner. And I think he says that in every interview he does, you know, that none of us is without fault. And I think that that's been part of his strength, just to show how human he is. Yes, he is the vicar of Christ, and yet at the same time he's a human being like the rest of us.
Let's talk about you. How has the Holy Father impacted you, Greg Burke?
I think that's a pretty long list, too, in terms of what it's meant for me, but I'll just leave you one small example, and that's that. It's trying to lock on and pay attention to whoever you have in front of you. Quite frankly, you know, most of us are busy with a million things. We're busy with our cell phones. We're talking to people, and yet at the same time we're checking Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and maybe that's what saves the Pope, you know, that he's not there with his cell phone. He has somebody in front of him, and for that moment it's that person, and that person is all that counts. And I think there's a lot to learn from that.
Is the breakneck speed difficult?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people think it's a breakneck papacy, you know, that it's sort of the pace of the Pope, and the Pope certainly does. There are a lot of innovations. But really what has changed is communications, and I think we keep up with it just like everybody else does. Not always easy.
Greg Burke, director of the Holy See Press Office. Great to see you.